In the world of television, I Love Lucy broke ground by portraying interracial love, Will and Grace broke ground by portraying gay love, and of course, Big Love broke ground by showing us polygamy. And in today's pilot, I promise you, you're seeing a form of televised love you've never seen before, so don't move a muscle.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unproduced Table Read. For those who are watching live or watching on the video, you might see that I'm here all alone. But don't worry, I have a studio full of wonderful people. And for those tuning in for the first time, this is a show where we read Hollywood's hottest unproduced pilots and features. And today we're reading a wonderful comedy by an amazing writing team of Tanner Bean and Katie Mathewson.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. I love the pilot. I can't wait to get into it.
Thanks.
I also have a group of amazing actors that I'd love to introduce themselves and who they'll be playing on the show today.
What's up, everybody? I'm Timothy Michael. You can find me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike. And today I will be playing Scotty and Tyler.
Hi, everyone. I'm William Pinkham. You can find me online at william.pinkham. And today I'm reading Mark.
What's up, guys? I'm Roxy Stryer. You can find me at Roxy Stryer, and I'll be reading for Caitlin.
Hey guys, I'm Andrew Guy. Today I will be AJ Warren and the Dispatcher.
Hey guys, I'm Adrienne Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrienne Snow, and I'm reading Hannah, Ashley, and Rachel. Sorry.
Wonderful. Well, guys, I cannot wait to get into this script. One thing I like to do before we dive in is just kind of have our amazing writers give us like 30 seconds to a minute of just kind of what the script is and sort of brief inspirations and the world we'll be entering before we dive in. So.
Tanner and I, this is the first pilot that we actually wrote together. We've been writing together for about 5.5 years now, and this was the first thing we kind of did. And we were just talking about things that interest us. At the time, this was right when I was coming out, and I was in my first relationship with a woman, and I was like, okay, this is a new thing that I'm doing. And then Tanner was kind of doing his
I dated
own
a
thing.
polyamorous girl for
cool.
a little bit, and that was very interesting.
In his Tinder days.
Yeah. It was kind of around when Tinder, that whole era kind of started, and I
Was
dated.
taking full advantage.
I met a few different girls during that period, and the polyamorous thing. The girl I met, she, in her own weird way, was the most normal of all of them, and I just found the whole lifestyle to be fascinating. It wasn't something that I wanted to personally do, but we just thought it would be a funny, fucked up, complicated story to tell.
Absolutely.
We were, going through both of our own things, and we figured, like any story you could tell about relationships or family or anything, if you tell it through this prism, it's everything is going to be something new. Like dinners, arguments, like everything is going to be completely different through the prism.
Absolutely. Before we dive in, guys, I should say it's an honor to have Tanner and Katie in here. They are very well-credentialed writers. Tanner was kind of Dan Fogelman's protege for a while. I'm sure even if you don't know his name, you know his shows. He created This Is Us, Grandfathered, and of course Pitch, which you guys both worked on. Katie also worked on At Midnight, which is a show that I love very much.
Good.
Yeah.
Chris Hardwick is actually good friends with Kevin because the CEO of this company, actually his first gig was Singled Out, which was kind of
that's
Chris
amazing.
Hardwick's
Of course.
first. Yeah, so fun small world here in Hollywood. But thank you guys for introducing the script so beautifully. I can't wait to get into it, and I just think it's going to create for a very interesting, slightly provocative discussion. So let's go ahead and get into it. Guys, this is a script called Significant Others. It's a comedy pilot written by Katrina Mathewson and Tanner Bean. Polyamory. The practice of engaging in multiple, non-possessive, honest, and responsible sexual relationships with the consent of all partners involved. But, as with most relationships, they're still really fucking complicated. Interior, fancy restaurant, downtown Seattle evening. Dim lighting, soft music, floor-to-ceiling windows with a stunning view of the Puget Sound waterfront. A married couple shares a slice of cheesecake. Although the husband seems more concerned with the bill, their waiter just dropped off. This is Mark. He's 38 and was in better shape a decade ago, but he's still got it. And this is Caitlin, 29, who's been called free-spirited or flighty, depending on who you ask.
Fuck chocolate being an aphrodisiac. Nothing soaks my panties like cheesecake.
Without looking up from the bill,
Liar.
suddenly, Caitlin squeals as if someone just played footsies with her vagina, because Mark just did.
We both know you're not wearing panties.
She gives him a salacious grin.
Tonight was fun.
It was. Even if we should be saving for our trip or rent.
Ooh, and my non-existent panties just dried up.
Babe, we've been treading water for months.
I'll be able to help out more as soon as I'm certified.
Mark nods, but he purses his lips.
What's that look?
Nothing.
Mark?
Well, first it was cosmetology school, then it was...
I hated being a stylist. It was the wrong fit from the start.
Okay, well, while you're finishing the CPT program, maybe...
Caitlin's phone vibrates. She reads a text and she smiles.
We should head to the park.
Mark nods, then glances at her glass of wine.
Are you gonna finish that?
It's all yours.
Mark polishes it off in one gulp, then he signs the bill, although it pains both him and his wallet. Exterior, Olympic Sculpture Park later that evening. Hand in hand, Mark and Caitlin stroll past funky urban art. Mark turns to his wife and caresses her face.
You know I'll support you if you're a trainer or stylist or dominatrix.
Caitlin rolls her eyes, but she can't hide a smile.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Mark shrugs. Guilty. She knows him all too well.
But one last money thing.
Caitlin rolls her eyes again. No smile this time.
Our lease is almost up. Maybe we should consider moving into a smaller place or, canceling the vacation.
First of all, there isn't a place smaller than ours, and we're not canceling the trip. I know how much it means to you. To us.
Fine. We'll just get a roommate and sell your ovaries.
Hey, guys.
Mark and Caitlin turn to see AJ, 35, clean-shaven, chiseled, wearing a suit that was obviously tailored just for him.
Oh, sorry I missed dinner. I was closing this massive deal with... Doesn't matter. Was the restaurant as good as I said it was?
Better.
Caitlin shoots Mark a look.
It was good, but what exactly were we celebrating?
It's not a celebration unless you both say yes.
Well, yes to what?
Hold on. First things first.
AJ kisses Caitlin, passionately, with tongue, and yet Mark seems 93% unfazed.
Cheesecake. Someone's gonna be horny tonight.
Caitlin simpers.
Okay, now tell us what's going on.
AJ takes a breath. He looks at both of them.
I want you to move in with me.
A moment of shock, then Caitlin beams. It's clear what her answer is. She turns to Mark, and he musters a thin smile. Title card, Significant Others. Exterior, Mark and Caitlin's apartment day. Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. A brick apartment complex that's past its prime, but still clings to its charm. Prelap, the unmistakable sound of a woman in ecstasy. Interior, Mark and Caitlin's bedroom continuous. As the sound intensifies, we scan the small room and see framed photos of Mark and Caitlin on their wedding day, an offbeat ceremony on the outskirts of Horain Forest, their drunken smiles during a concert at the legendary El Corazon music venue, holding a Save Our Sonics banner at the Supersonics final game at Key Arena. In bed, Mark's head is buried between Caitlin's quivering legs. Except it's not Caitlin, it's Hannah, 26 and boho chic.
That was, wow.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Mark lies down, his mouth glistening with her ecstasy. He stretches his tired jaw as Hannah tries to catch her breath.
Let's go again.
He jumps on top of her, but she pushes him off.
You just don't want to pack, and I need to finish grading papers.
Just give all the little degenerates all C's.
Hannah grins, then stands and slips on her underwear.
So, you nervous?
About what?
Living with AJ and his,
Living with your lover's lover is totally normal in poly marriages. It's also why my wife is cool with your glazed donut residue all over my mouth.
Gross. I'm just saying, moving in with Kate's boyfriend after they've only been dating 6 months, I don't know, seems complicated. Plus, you don't even like AJ.
That's not true. But what I said earlier, I was being sarcastic. That's my thing.
I know you two have lived with girlfriends before, but they were girls that you both shared. With AJ, it's gonna be different.
Look, I get it. I've thought about all that, but
They hear the front door open and shut.
Oh, crap.
What?
Damn it, Mark!
Caitlin barges into the bedroom.
I can't believe you haven't started packing. You're so fucking lazy.
I got distracted.
I can see that. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Kate.
She was in the neighborhood, and I wanted to show her that thing you taught me.
Oh, the tongue thing?
Oh yeah, she loved it.
I did.
Keep in mind who taught him that. I'm like Mr. Miyagi with a clit.
Oh, trust me, if you can't convince me to change teams, no one can.
Caitlin shakes her head and looks at Mark and Hannah.
You heteros kill me.
Exterior, Mark and Caitlin's apartment moments later. Mark walks Hannah to her vintage Volkswagen Beetle.
She's gonna castrate you if you don't get back and help her.
No one does the walk of shame alone on my watch.
Oh, always the gentleman.
She opens her driver's side door.
Hey, thanks for busting my balls earlier. I probably needed it.
Happy to help.
Mark opens his mouth to say something, but stops himself.
What is it?
Sometimes I wish I could talk to Caitlin like I can talk to you.
Hannah grins and squeezes his arm.
Well, isn't that the beauty of all of this? You can talk to me.
Mark smiles. She kisses him.
See you next week?
He nods. She gets in her car and drives away as Mark lingers for a moment, lost in thought. Interior, Mark and Caitlin's apartment evening. Mark wears a similarly lost expression on his face, but then we realize he's actually just absorbed in a travel book. Pull out to reveal a small living room full of moving boxes. Caitlin glances at Mark as she packs the rest of the books.
It's adorable how excited you are for our trip.
Babe, New Zealand is Middle Earth.
You love those fat little hobbits.
I can't help it. Seriously, though. I can't believe we haven't taken a real vacation since our honeymoon.
Considering we've already been married 4 magical years, I agree. Now stop being such a lazy shit and help me pack.
Mark smirks and puts the book away. Caitlin crosses the room to grab some packing tape, but stubs her toe on the coffee table.
Fuck! Ugh, I cannot wait to be out of this shithole.
This shithole might have lacked in square feet, but we made up for it with lots of great memories. And dozens of burnt souffles from your chef phase.
I thought my spontaneity was what you loved about me.
It is.
Uh-huh. Can't tell me you're not excited to have a yard and a driveway.
Sure.
Okay, what's the matter?
I don't know. All this still feels a little fast, I guess.
We moved in together fast, and that worked out pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Caitlin takes Mark's hands in her own.
We've talked about this, babe. About how perfect the timing is and how we want to save some money.
I know. You're right. It's gonna be different.
And it'll be great. I promise. Trust me?
He smiles and kisses her forehead. Their marriage might not be normal, but there's no doubt that these two love each other. Exterior residential neighborhood day. A predictably overcast day in suburbia. A shitbox Honda Civic drags a U-Haul trailer up to a stately 2-story house. Mark and Caitlin get out of the car and survey their new digs.
I can't wait to show you inside. I redecorated everything. Well, except for those god-awful curtains.
I know one thing. Your folks will love to see us in such a gentrified neighborhood.
She playfully smacks him, then turns to see a gay couple approaching. This is Scotty, white, and Warren, black. Both 40s, fit, well-dressed, and a little uptight.
Your welcome wagon has arrived.
You must be Caitlin. I'm Scotty. This is my hubby, Warren.
We're your new neighbors.
Oh, it's so nice to meet you. This is my hubby, Mark.
Scotty and Warren share a confused look.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were AJ's girlfriend.
But you're also Caitlin?
No, you're right. I'm both of those things.
Scotty and Warren look to Mark for confirmation.
AJ and I share her vagina.
Caitlin smacks Mark again, not so playful this time.
What? I said vagina. I know how you feel about pussy.
Scott and Warren laugh, thinking all of this is a joke.
It's not funny.
Scotty and Warren think I'm funny?
But the look on Caitlin's face tells Scotty and Warren that this is, in fact, not a joke.
Well, pleasure to meet you both. Hon, we should be getting back, right?
Yeah, we left Liza home alone, our little labradoodle.
They turn and make a beeline for their house. Caitlin shoots Mark a pointed look.
Come on, I was just playing. They loved us.
On Scotty and Warren.
What kind of kinky shit are these motherfuckers bringing into our neighborhood?
They see AJ walk out of his house and he waves.
Just when you think you know someone.
Back to Mark and Caitlin. AJ walks up and gives Caitlin a big hug. Mark extends his hand, but AJ pulls him in for a hug too.
I see you met the neighbors. I adore those two. We should all go on a double date sometime. Or would it be a double and a half?
AJ, I want to talk to you about rent.
AJ smiles and claps Mark on the shoulder.
For the 100th time, don't worry about it. I know money's been tight.
I'm not so tight that we can't afford to pull our own weight. We're roommates. It should be equal.
We're not roommates. We're family.
Mark is about to say something when a Mercedes pulls up. From it steps Rachel, 35, professional and pretty, but too many hard nights have taken their toll. She walks over in a huff.
I can't believe you're actually going through with us.
Mark turns to AJ.
Let me guess. Your ex-wife?
AJ sighs and nods.
Mark, Caitlin, meet Rachel.
First, you're bisexual. Then, you're a polygamist. But I never thought you'd have the audacity to move your fuck buddies into the house where our child lives half the time.
But before anyone can retort, the passenger door of the Mercedes opens and Tyler, 15, smart, and small for his age, steps out.
Hey, bud. Have a good week with your mom?
Tyler shrugs.
Awesome. You remember Caitlin, right? And this is her husband, Mark.
Great to see you again, Tyler.
She goes in for a hug.
Keep your hands off him.
Her tone stops Caitlin in her tracks. Rachel turns to Tyler.
Don't worry, sweetheart. This arrangement won't last long.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
It means you're going to screw him up with this lifestyle. And once I prove that to Judge Perkins...
Please. You're Tyler's mother and a lawyer, and Perkins still wouldn't grant you sole custody.
Because you're a raging alcoholic.
Oh, stay out of this, slut.
Rachel.
Oh, go have another cocktail.
Caitlin.
Mark has heard enough. He glances at Tyler.
Good luck, kid.
Mark turns and walks toward the house. Tyler just stands there as his dad, his mom, and Caitlin continue to argue. Interior AJ's dining room night. Rain pours down outside as Mark, Caitlin, and Tyler sit at the dinner table. It's dead silent except for the storm. AJ, wearing oven mitts, enters and sets down a steaming dish.
That smells great, baby.
Ooh, what is it? Chicken parm?
Eggplant, actually.
You know, that's the emoji for
He
it.
stops himself, remembering Tyler.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So, first night all together in the house. That's exciting, right?
I mean, this house always felt too big for just me and Tyler. Lately, all I could think about was filling it with the loved ones. And now we have.
I hoped you meant with a dog or maybe an adopted Ecuadorian kid.
Mark snorts a laugh, but covers by clearing his throat.
Sorry.
Caitlin tries to engage Tyler.
Tyler, is there anything you want to talk about?
No thanks.
You don't have any questions?
Nope.
Caitlin turns to AJ, pleading for help.
We've already had a lot of great chats about everything.
But I think we should all talk. When you think about it, our situation isn't that unusual. Only 17% of humans' cultures are strictly monogamous. In fact, the only reason monogamy even developed was out of concern over the inheritance of material goods after the agricultural revolution, which means that most people have an outdated Victorian understanding of sexuality based on property rights.
If Caitlin had a mic, she would have just dropped it. AJ looks at her, smitten. He turns to Tyler.
I know it'll be an adjustment, but the three of us we take this very seriously. This relationship is serious to us.
And we'll be open about everything. We don't want you to be uncomfortable when you meet our other lovers.
Why would that make me uncomfortable?
We're all a little uncomfortable, but we'll figure it out.
Tyler looks between Mark and his dad.
Are you two gonna have butt sex?
Fuck no. Sorry, but fuck no.
It's okay, you're not really my type.
Mark nods, but then,
Wait, why not?
off everyone's look,
No, I'm just curious on principle.
Oh, I have an idea. How about
she scoots her chair over next to Tyler.
a little show and tell? Maybe that'll make this easier to understand.
She takes out her iPhone and starts scrolling through photos.
So this is my girlfriend Erica. Mark and I share her. And here's Hannah, Mark's lover. She's so cute, but she's straight, unfortunately.
Caitlin's next photo is a nude selfie. Tyler's eyes widen.
Shit, sorry. That was for your dad.
Okay, that's enough for one night.
An awkward silence fills the room as everyone starts eating. Well, everyone but Tyler. He just stares at Caitlin's phone. Interior Tyler's bedroom later that night. Tyler plays a video game. There's a knock as AJ cracks the door open.
Typically, the point of knocking is to wait for an answer.
Sorry, bud. Can I come in?
Knock yourself out.
AJ enters and he shuts the door. He takes a seat on the bed. Tyler doesn't take his eyes away from the game, but AJ's fought this battle before, so he knows which button is pause.
Look, I know this is the last thing a 15-year-old expects to deal with. And I probably should have eased you into all this a little better, but Caitlin and Mark mean...
You mean the married woman you're having sex with and her husband?
Yes, them.
Why do they have to live with us?
Because I love Caitlin, and one day I hope Mark and I can love each other too. Platonically, of course. Look, we're going on a trip to New Zealand next month, and I really hope it'll bring the three of us closer together.
Ugh, please tell me I'm not going.
It's an adults-only trip.
Can I stay at Nick's?
Nick's a stoner. Listen, Ty, this may not be normal, but I promise there will be more love in this house than there ever was when me and your mother lived together.
He puts a hand on his son's shoulders.
Just give it a shot. For me.
Tyler gives his dad a resigned nod. AJ smiles. Interior, Mark and Caitlin's bedroom, meanwhile. The former guest room is cluttered with unpacked boxes. Caitlin is nestled under Mark's arm as they both browse Tinder. An unattractive woman's pic pops up. Mark swipes her to the left, rejecting her. Then another one left swiped.
Damn, bad run tonight.
But then Ashley pops up. She's 26 and she's super hot. Caitlin right swipes her.
It's comforting to know there's always one thing we can agree on.
If she matches with you, see if she wants to meet for a drink. I bet AJ would like her too.
Forget AJ. We have a new room to christen.
In one quick move, Mark swings himself on top of her. She smiles, aroused. Then a knock and their door opens. It's AJ wearing a robe.
Why knock if you're just gonna barge in?
AJ sheds his robe to reveal he's buck-ass naked.
Can I play too?
Yay!
No! Wait, hold on a minute. We need to set some
I
boundaries.
just want to cuddle.
Then why are you naked?
Chill. Both of you can focus on me.
Get out, AJ.
Why are you being so possessive? AJ, you can stay.
No, it's okay.
He puts
I
his
wasn't
robe
trying
back
to-
on. Yeah, he puts his robe back on,
I wasn't trying to upset anyone.
and he gives Caitlin a kiss.
Love you. Sleep tight.
AJ leaves, and Caitlin shakes her head at Mark.
You're an ass.
A beat, then Mark gets out of bed.
What are you doing?
I've seen horses with smaller cocks. Like, I'm gonna go downstairs and pour whiskey in my eyeballs.
He leaves, and Caitlin sighs. 2 lovers under one roof, and she's alone in bed, and still horny.
Well, fuck me.
She reaches into the nightstand drawer and pulls out her vibrator, but she ain't happy with it. Interior AJ's house, living room the next morning. Mark sleeps on the couch, his hand wrapped around a glass of whiskey. The empty bottle sits next to him. Caitlin stands over him. She picks up an oversized coffee table book and drops it. Mark bolts upright.
Sleep well, dear?
Sorry, I meant to come back upstairs.
Caitlin starts to walk away.
Oh, wait a sec.
She turns and faces him.
I've been thinking, when it's time for bed, I just want you sleeping in our room. Just you.
Every night?
Yeah, but you can be with AJ as much as you want during the day.
I don't remember having this rule when Sheena lived with us. Or Megan.
Hey, you slept with them just as much as I did.
That's true, but AJ and I...
On cue, AJ strolls into the room holding fabric swatches.
Babe, we should definitely go with the plum. Oh, hey, Mark. We're going curtain shopping. You want to come?
Nah, you girls have fun.
We will, thanks. Maybe later you and I can shotgun beers and watch Ice Road Truckers.
I know you're trying to talk shit, but that sounds awesome.
Okay, that's enough. But now that I think about it, some good old-fashioned male bonding might be good for you two.
Yeah, right. You're serious. What are we supposed to do?
I don't know, go bowling, and hey, you're both free tonight.
She grabs her purse and heads out the front door. Mark looks at AJ, who just shrugs and follows after her. Mark grunts and carries his whiskey glass into the kitchen, where he sets the glass down on a counter and pours a cup of coffee as Tyler meanders into the room.
Coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee, or your dad won't let you drink coffee.
Tyler doesn't answer.
He's a fascist. Here.
He hands Tyler the cup he just poured.
So, you, got a girlfriend? Boyfriend?
I like girls, but I'm not talking about this with you.
Calm down, I was just making conversation.
A beat, these two have no idea how to talk to each other.
Did my dad leave?
Mark nods.
He always forgets about my cello lesson. Could you take me?
Can't, gotta go to work. Cello? Really?
My mom says it'll look good on my college applications.
Uh-huh. Why can't you drive yourself?
I'm not old enough to have a driver's license.
Yeah, we'll take the bus or walk or something. Builds character.
Tyler quietly sips his coffee, looking miserable.
Why are you pouting?
Well, I don't want to hang out in the sex house all day.
Mark can't help feeling a little sorry for him.
I guess you could come to work with me if you want.
Tyler considers his 2 less than desirable options, but then
I'll grab my shoes.
he heads down the hallway toward his bedroom. Mark pours himself a cup of coffee, but there's only 1 drop left.
Shit.
He drinks a sip of coffee and then looks over at the leftover whiskey in the glass, and he drinks that too. Interior ambulance later that day. Patrick, 20s, always munching on candy, sits in the idling ambulance. He hears the rear door open and glances back.
We have a guest today.
Tyler climbs in. We're doing ride-alongs now. Sweet. Laffy Taffy?
No thanks.
Mark and Tyler take a seat on the bench, and Patrick hits the gas. So is he your sister's kid?
He's my wife's boyfriend's son.
A beat as they all let that sink in. This polyorgy shit is fucking wild, bro.
Amory. It's polyamory.
Mark sighs and turns to Tyler.
Welcome to my office, kid.
Tyler looks around.
Is that the defibrillator?
Yep.
Cool.
Cool indeed, little dude. We can do everything they can in the ER, except x-rays and lab work and stuff.
Can you get in trouble for me being here?
Absolutely.
Tyler grins. It's almost shocking to see, but Mark misses it. He has a new Tinder match, Ashley, who Caitlin right-swiped. Interior, Bed Bath & Beyond, meanwhile. Caitlin and AJ peruse curtains like any ordinary couple.
You know, you really should consider interior decorating. You're a pro.
Mark would kill me if I changed careers again.
He loves you. He'll support you no matter what. Speaking of Mark, who do you think Tyler hates more, me or him or Tyler?
Oh, Mark doesn't hate you. Neither does Tyler. You're a great dad.
I appreciate that. Even if you've really only seen me in action one night.
So far, so good. And Tyler will come around.
I hope so. I hope Mark does too. Is it just me or has he become more petulant than usual?
I think he's just a little jealous, honestly.
What? My crazy ex-wife? My angsty teenage son?
Caitlin rolls her eyes.
No, I get it. You and I have been spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, but it'll be okay. I definitely felt some jealousy when our first girlfriend moved in, but I got over it, and Mark will too.
AJ nods.
What do you say about me coming to New Zealand?
I haven't told him yet. There's just been so much going on lately. I keep forgetting.
Do you want me to bring it up over bowling?
No, let me do it. It'll be better coming from me.
They turn back to the curtains, and AJ has a sudden realization.
Damn it. I forgot Tyler's cello lesson again.
Text Mark. Maybe he hasn't left yet.
Interior ambulance, meanwhile. Mark is now behind the wheel, and Tyler rides shotgun. They're stopped at a red light. Mark gets a text from AJ, but he's knee-deep in a Tinder conversation with Ashley, and he ignores it. The light turns green, but Mark doesn't notice. A car honks. He puts his phone away and accelerates. Tyler glances to the back, where Patrick naps on the gurney.
How does he sleep back there?
One time I woke him up with the defibrillator.
Whoa, really?
It was on a really low voltage.
Tyler smiles.
You know, you're not as pervy as I thought you'd be.
You're not as annoying as I thought you'd be.
Tyler chuckles. This is the most relaxed we've seen him yet.
Can I be honest?
If you must.
I don't get the whole poly thing.
Mark takes a moment to choose his words.
Think of it this way. 50 years ago, 2 gays couldn't raise a child without a lynch mob coming for them. Everyone thought they were sexual deviants that'd screw up their kids. Can you imagine anyone thinking that way now? I mean, Westboro sociopaths aside.
Tyler shakes his head.
Exactly. So if you're lucky, you'll only get screwed up the regular amount.
Tyler chuckles again. It's followed by the first non-awkward silence he and Mark have ever shared. Then,
Hey, do you think you could convince my dad to let me stay at my friend Nick's house when you go to New Zealand?
What about New Zealand?
He said you're all going on some 3-way vacation.
Mark is instantly furious. But before he can say anything, the radio crackles to life.
Unit 16, respawn code 3 to 1st and Hallgate. Patient found unresponsive on sidewalk. Page incoming.
Unit 16, 10-4, code 3, 1st and Hallgate. We're running hot.
He reaches for the siren.
Can I do it?
Mark thinks for a sec, then shrugs.
Light her up!
Tyler flips on the siren and Mark guns it, causing Patrick to fly off the gurney in the back. Exterior, downtown Seattle, continuous. Sirens blaring, the ambulance races down the street. Dissolve 2. Exterior, AJ's house, evening. Mark's Civic stops at the end of the driveway, and Tyler gets out.
I hope your dad doesn't freak.
Aren't you and him going
Mark drives away.
bowling?
Tyler shrugs and plods toward the house. He notices Scotty and Warren unloading groceries from their Mini Cooper.
No. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Warren.
Scotty and Warren look up, and both of their jaws drop. Reveal a sizable blood stain on Tyler's shirt.
Oh, don't worry. It's not mine.
Tyler keeps walking. On Scotty and Warren.
Remember that home security system we decided that was a waste of money?
Scotty is dialing his cell phone.
Already on it. Bring light inside.
Interior AJ's house, laundry room later that night. A front-loading washing machine spins to a stop. Caitlin opens the door and inspects Tyler's stain-free shirt. She tosses it in the dryer, then notices AJ watching her with a grin.
Who would have thought I could be so domestic?
It's adorable. Thanks for washing his shirt.
No prob. I washed the sheets too. There was a surprisingly high semen to linen ratio. But you gotta respect the unbridled hormones of a teenage boy.
You make me feel like a teenager.
Is that so?
AJ takes her in his arms and kisses her, but she pulls away.
What's wrong?
Caitlin sighs.
Nothing. It's just weird. Mark went straight to the bar after work.
Mark? Going to a bar? Is weird? No, what's weird is him letting my 15-year-old ride in an ambulance next to a man bleeding from a hole where his arm used to be.
But Caitlin doesn't respond. Her thoughts are somewhere else.
He always comes home and tells me about his day, and then he goes to the bar.
AJ takes her by the hand.
Babe, just talk to him. Everything will be fine.
Suddenly, they hear a commotion coming from the living room. It's dark. Mark and Ashley from Tinder drunkenly tumble onto the couch and start making out. After a few moments, a light flips on, and Mark looks up to see Caitlin and AJ.
Hey.
What the hell
Aren't
are you
you a little
doing?
for roommates?
Slow down. All right, one at a time.
You know it's against the rules to bring home some skank that I've never met.
Technically, you were with me when I met her.
And I'm not a skank.
That too.
Guys, I know this probably isn't my place, but I just...
You're
think we
right.
should-
It's not, so fuck off.
Hey, what is your problem?
My problem.
He rises to his feet and looks Caitlin right in the eye.
My problem is that you invited AJ on our vacation without even talking to me. We've been planning it for what, a year?
Caitlin cringes.
I'm sorry, I've been meaning to...
we barely talked about AJ's pity move-in offer, so I probably shouldn't be that surprised.
Look, I'm a shit for not asking you if AJ could come on the trip. I'm sorry about that, but why are you suddenly acting like all this isn't what you signed up for? You can't have a double standard when it comes to our relationship. I've always supported yours, even if it was jealousy or even if I was jealous, so now I need you to support me.
Mark falls silent. He slumps onto the couch and just sits there, looking around his new home.
I just hate that I couldn't give you a house, a life like this.
Caitlin wasn't expecting him to say that.
I haven't seen you this happy in a long time, and I'm really glad you fell in love with AJ. I really am. But seeing you two together every single day, it's gonna be harder than I thought.
Baby,
Mark looks up at his wife.
loving AJ doesn't make me love you any less, and you know that.
He takes a breath and he nods. Caitlin takes him by the hand.
There's always going to be some adjusting when you create a new family, and that's what we are.
Mark smiles. He's about to say something, but...
One big happy fucking family.
Everyone turns to Ashley as if they forgot she was there. Because they did. Caitlin looks her up and down and gets an idea.
You know, a happy fucking family isn't the worst idea.
It takes Ashley a moment to realize what Caitlin is implying.
Sure, why not? I haven't had a decent group fuck since freshman year.
Interior AJ's bedroom later. Mark sits up as he missionary fucks Ashley. She lies beside AJ, who Caitlin rides reverse cowgirl. So, husband and wife are essentially facing each other. They lock eyes.
I love you.
I love you too.
Mark and Caitlin lean over and kiss each other. Then...
AJ, that better not be your hand.
Interior Tyler's bedroom, meanwhile. Far away from the sounds of the foursome, we hear a different but all too familiar sound. Unbridled teenage hormones. Tyler masturbates on his sheetless bed. In the less occupied hand, he holds Caitlin's cell phone and her nude selfie. Exterior AJ's house morning. Another overcast morning in suburbia. Mark escorts Ashley on her walk of shame to an Uber at the end of the driveway.
Last night was fun.
Honestly, I was so drunk I don't remember much of it.
Gotcha. Want to hang out again?
That's okay.
She gets in the car.
What about with just me? I mean, if my wife's cool with it.
Bye, Mike.
Actually, it's...
Too late. Her Uber drives away. Mark shrugs. He waves to Scotty and Warren, tending to their rose bush. They wave back as they silently judge the shit out of him. Interior AJ's house moments later. Mark watches Caitlin and AJ have too much fun hanging their new curtains.
Gonna run some errands.
They don't hear him. They're engrossed in domestic bliss. Interior bar later that morning. Mark sits at the mostly empty bar and the bartender walks over. Hey Mark, what's good?
Drug slanging and gang banging.
The bartender smirks as he pours Mark a whiskey, and we notice the bar patron 2 stools down.
How's a sex dungeon where you're raising my impressionable child?
It's Rachel. Mark kills his drink, then turns to AJ's ex-wife.
Rachel, was it?
I'm getting full custody, and then Tyler will never set foot in that house again.
Well, that's too bad. I was just starting to like the kid.
She waits for him to follow that up with another smart-ass remark, but he doesn't, and they both motion for another round. A beat.
You having a nightcap? Just figured you were getting off a shift. You're a paramedic, right?
How the hell do you know that?
Like I'm gonna let you creeps move in with my only child and not find out everything I can about you.
Oh, yeah? Enlighten me, then.
Well, for starters, you could have been a doctor, but like most tragic losers, you never applied yourself to anything except that mediocre grunge band. But you quit that too.
Mark stares at her, his expression hard to read. Then...
Burnt Quiche was really more of a punk band.
Despite herself, Rachel cracks a half smile. The bartender sets their new drinks on the bar.
So, nightcap?
Mark shakes his head.
It's morning for me, too.
A beat. They might not be as different as she thought.
And cheers to us.
She clinks her glass against his, then takes a swig. Mark looks at her curiously, and then knocks back his whiskey. End of pilot. Woo! All right, for those listening and watching, I'm going to quickly switch places with one of our actors just so we can get the ideal coordination for the room visually. So stand by for 10 seconds, and I'll be back on the mic in a minute.
Andrew, entertain us in the meantime.
That's the only thing
Really
I can
good. So good.
Yeah, that's what I do when I get put on the spot.
Yeah, that's all those improv years, right?
Yeah, that's all I got going for me. That's
Oh,
all.
no.
Years and
All
years.
right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the pilot script to Significant Others, and I'm so excited to talk. Tanner and Katie, thanks so much for letting us bring this on the show,
Yeah,
first of all.
thank you guys.
That was awesome.
It was really fun
Yeah,
to
the first
hear.
time we heard it, so that was great.
Cool.
Yeah, so cool.
It's such an interesting script, and I think I want to talk about the tone that you guys took with it, because when you decided as a writing partnership to take on polyamory, like what were the conversations you had around the subject, and how did you like want to develop it?
I think the first thing was just trying to figure out like what our take was, and like Tanner said, he had dated a polyamorous girl and wasn't ever brought into that dynamic. Like it got to a point where you had started to, like, she wanted you to like meet her boyfriend and hang out with him and spend time together.
I actually met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was weird.
we've kind of talked a lot about how we don't. It's complicated. It's hard, and it's we don't know how much like it could actually work. I think the sharing could be really hard and the jealousy could be hard, but then like you have people who are in polyamorous relationships and believe very truly in what they do and what like their right to practice those relationships. And so I think we wanted to handle it respectfully, because it is a real lifestyle, and it's not just like, it's not swinging and it's not an open relationship, it's multiple relationships. And so I think we wanted to show the legitimacy of it and like the real love behind it, but also kind of be true to how complicated it can be.
Yeah, we didn't want it to be like poly propaganda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted to show the, both sides of it, the good and the bad. And even though, it's something that like Katie and I wouldn't do in our personal lives,
Right.
like we totally respect people who do it, but as like writers, like writing about a lifestyle that like we personally couldn't do felt super intriguing to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you guys like need to do a lot of research, or did you talk to any polyamorists? Is that the term, polyamorists?
I think so.
I've heard
Sounds
of
right.
right.
I think poly people.
Poly people.
No,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Because polygamy is actually different. Yeah,
Yeah.
polygamy
Yeah, that's where
is-
you're
Sex
married.
and religion. and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the big love.
So who did you guys need to discuss, talk to kind of, or did you do any kind of research?
We did some research. We watched. There was a.
Oh yeah, the Showtime thing.
What was that called?
I forget.
Was it
God.
special or a TV
There was
show?
like it's around the time when they did like the Real L Word. There was like a polyamory reality
yeah.
show.
Mhm.
We saw some of that, and I think the interesting thing that was there is that like it showed the relationship and the rules, and because these relationships all have their own set of rules, and for everyone it's different. For some people it's like, okay, we meet everyone together, and then for other people it's like, okay, well, you can do what you want casually, but then if it becomes serious, then you introduce them to like your other partners. But so that was a good way to kind of like see, because it followed different kind of families, relationships, groups, and the hard thing was though, like the people they chose to cast in that show were like all a little like offbeat, a little left of center, and we wanted to show like people that you would know, like
Right.
people that were like, oh, this could be my neighbor, or this could be my coworker, or my friend, or my ex-husband, or any of that. And so I think that was like our biggest goal. But watching that show is good. I have a friend that is that I found out was polyamorous, so I was talking about writing this pilot, and he's like, oh, actually, like that's something that I do. And so I talked to him a little bit, and then
Cool.
Tanner's experience, like just learning about it from her. And because I think the thing with a lot of poly people is that they are very open to talking about it and to explaining, like, this is how it works, this is how it is for me. So
Yeah,
it's
like
good.
my experience was the people that I met, they were all completely normal. Whereas on that docudrama series on Showtime, they were kind of just a little bit too hippie. That to me them just a little bit like unrelatable, and that was very much not my experience, as well as Katie's. So we wanted to bring that to the script.
Well, that's what's so fascinating is like you have done that. You've taken kind of characters we may recognize in another sitcom and given them this twist that makes this totally fresh. And there's something I was talking with Roxy about, like where we would see this airing, and like content-wise, it feels obviously probably like a premium cable show.
Sure.
But like kind of thematically and tonally, and even like the beats of the sitcom, it doesn't really betray your network past. Like I think it kind of has the feel of a network sitcom a little bit. Is that something you guys were trying to do? Is sort of give us sort of the comfort food familiarity of sitcoms we love with infusing this twist kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think we wanted. There's no act breaks in it, so we weren't like writing to act breaks,
Right.
but we still wanted it to have like a familiar, pretty much a simple like 3-act structure to it for the most part. But yeah, we agree. Like it, that's the whole idea, though, is kind of telling somewhat familiar, relatable stories under this kind of new prism.
Right.
And that's what kind of intrigued us about it.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, have you guys kind of, in your perfect network, have you envisioned where this might live, or?
I think ideally we would see it premium, because just so that you can go all the way there. I don't think that this was never supposed to be like a sex pilot, and was
Right.
never supposed to be like about the sex, as with polyamory is not like just about sex, and it's not like, oh, here's all of our like sexually deviant behavior. But I think to like, really explore as complicated as that element gets, because all the rest of it is very complicated, but then like the like who's participating, like if you're straight, like are you okay with being a part of a group dynamic, like what you know, like who's involved, who's not involved. And I think to be able to really explore all of that, ideally would be premium.
You know what's really funny is that you say it's not about sex, but any other network show like Queer as Folk or The L Word or even American Gods on Showtime, everybody usually talks about just the sex, and that's what really reels people or brings them in.
Right.
I think that's a travesty to our society, but I mean, I think I think it would be a good thing to have a network that would put it out there, because people who would be hesitant to be like, I'm not going to watch a show about, you know, polyamory would if they could see a little sex out of it. And I mean, just saying.
That's fair.
Yeah, no,
That's fair.
that's definitely a part of it, you know. But yeah, I think any of the streaming networks that could live on, any of the premium networks, and even maybe like, I don't know, an FX or an IFC, maybe a couple years from now, TBS, they're doing some pretty weird kind of offbeat comedies.
They are. I
you
love
know,
their stuff
so,
right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
they built
Yeah.
a cool brand in a short amount of time.
I'm curious about, have you guys had poly people read this script as well as, I guess, us, people like us, you know?
Yeah. The girl I dated read it. That was pretty interesting. You know, this was, like we said earlier, this was the first thing we ever had written together. And so we wrote it about 5 years ago. And we've rewritten it a million times. It was honestly a little bit more complicated subject matter than we even realized when we first started to tackle it. So it was always like one of the things that we struggled with, and one of the things that my friend Emily is her name, and that she really helped us with, is Mark came across as like almost like anti-polyamory in the early drafts, where he's supposed to, you know, he's obviously struggling with jealousy and feelings of inadequacy and things like that, but like he is very much polyamorous, you know, and he kind of just came across as being too negative, to where his point of view didn't really make sense. So that took a lot of finessing, and that was something talking to my friend Emily really helped. She really helped with that.
Because we wanted him to be sarcastic and like, you know, kind of
Prickly.
Yeah, exactly. But he is poly, and I think for him the resistance to AJ is more about just like him as a man. Like AJ is a little younger, he's better looking, he's, you know, more in shape, has a better job, better, like more money, and these are all things that like Mark is insecure about, you know, like he doesn't make as much money, and like you now have to watch another man like provide for your wife in ways that you don't feel you're providing for her.
In addition to
right.
having sex with her.
In addition to that. So I think for him, that was kind of the biggest transformation that we made, was making him come up, because that was always the intention, but I think early it came across as like, well, it doesn't even feel like he's polyamorous, but we kind of wanted him to be the eyes through which people who don't understand it can kind of see it and understand it, and Tyler too, like that was a big thing that we were excited about putting in early on, because we're like, we want to also show that like poly people have kids, and they are raising them, and that like they believe that this is like a good and safe environment, and it is, and it can be, and I think that that's something that like you don't really get to see.
Absolutely. I think we've been having an important conversation about how you wanted to delicately portray polyamory, because the pilot is a nuanced, kind of interesting take on the subject. And one thing I love that you did is you had judgment of polyamory coming from unlikely places. Can you guys talk a little bit about those choices in the development of the script?
Yeah.
I don't remember even where that came from. It kind of was just like, so even like, I don't know, like when I first started to have friends read our script like 5 years ago, and granted, this is like, these are progressive, fancy Hollywood people, you know what I mean, like liberal people. Even 5 years ago, they were like, what the fuck is, you know what I mean? Like, and these are like progressive, smart people, and they were just like, it's become, even in the last couple years, a little more, not mainstream, but people are just aware of it more.
I think more people know what it is now. So like before it was kind of like people are, oh, so like swingers, or like, so you have an open relationship, and it's like, no, it's a completely and totally different thing. But even in the LGBT community, you see like some judgment of that lifestyle, because it's like, well, we have just like gotten people to think that we're like normal, and that we have like normal loving relationships, and that we can like raise kids and have families, and that like it's not just like a sex dungeon in our house. And then it's like, well, now you guys are like really messing this up for us, and this is what people are going to think now. So
we kind of thought of as poly as kind of like the new gay, you know what I mean? Like that it's become, at least in, you know, large parts of the country, you know, homosexuality is super. I don't know how it's hard to imagine that people still have an issue with that, but I guess
except for those Westboro sociopaths.
Yes,
exactly.
But
no, I completely agree. I feel like people fear what they don't know, and I feel like what's great about television and what you've written here is that you are shedding a light on something that people may be not familiar with, and I feel like shows like Will and Grace and other shows
Transparent.
that have Transparent who have shed light on these issues that people are like, I'm confused and I'm a little scared of it, but through TV can get more familiar with it, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, that Will and Grace was that for me. Like I grew up in Oklahoma, and like my dad and I used to watch that show, and you know, it was like that brought like gay into our household. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that I'd never experienced before.
And it was okay.
You know? It was great. It was totally okay. But it was a powerful show. It was a groundbreaking show. And yeah, if we could be lumped in with a show like that or Transparent, that would be sure.
Well, I think you're definitely on the right track, because I rode here today with a friend of mine, and we literally in the car, we discussed the script the whole time. And we didn't discuss the script, but it was more about the idea of polyamory. And I think what's so important about this is that you've opened up such a cool conversation, but you've given these people the thoughts that we all have. And they go through all the emotions that we all go through every single day. So it really just feels so relatable. And, you know, her and I, we were talking, it's just like, I just think I would be so jealous, like Mark would, and I get it. And I just don't think I could ever get over that. And I understand being able to love people equally, but I just don't think I could. You know,
it's a very American concept.
It is.
Because other cultures, I mean, I don't know if you've ever read Sex at Dawn, where he talks about how indigenous cultures already have that kind of built-in structure where they don't really believe in marriage, and people raise families as a whole, as like a group network. And even in European culture, where I think in France they have like the 5 to 7 relationship, right? I think that's what it's called, where like you have like your lover for your evening, or no, your lover for the day, and then you have your home life at the evening. And so it's very new to us as Americans, because we're, you know, descendants of lots of weird, horrible people, but or pilgrims, but like Puritans. I think it's nice to see that kind of shown to America, because we're always kind of, I think a lot of times we're always slow on the pickup of a lot of new things. You know?
I was raised Mormon, so like polygamy is something that like everyone looks at and frowns at. Even Mormons do, because it's like a different type of Mormon that's detached from what we see today as a traditional Mormon religion. And like it's just one of those things. Again, no one's ever shined a light on it like this, giving it a chance. And I just really like that. I think it's really important.
I think it was also incredibly accurate. I have 2 very close poly couples that are friends of mine. And I do find that, because I know you received some early on, not criticism, but a skepticalness about Mark and whether I do find that typically in a relationship, one of them is more quick to being accepting, and one of them is a little slower to fully embrace being poly, even though they are. It is a little more challenging. And with my poly friends, I've asked if that's true with their friends, and every time they say there's usually one person who's a little quicker than the other person to fully get there and embrace the lifestyle. So I thought that was dead accurate. You guys did such a phenomenal job with this.
Thank you.
And what I loved about Mark is that there was this kind of like a hypocritical stance from him, because he was like Caitlin says, like when she pointed it out, like you were fine with Sheena, but you're not fine with AJ. So you're fine with girls, but you're not fine with guys. That Mark is just a really greatly written
dude. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Relates to him.
I have a friend who she's not polyamorous, but I guess she's bi. I don't know. We've never really confirmed it. We both kind of like just dance around the subject. But when she was talking with her boyfriend once about, potentially hooking up with a woman, and he's like, "Yeah, do it. Yeah,
exactly.
do it. Have fun."
Yeah.
And I was like, "God, that's so weird." Because if you hook up with a guy, she's like, "Oh no, I would go to the grave if I ever hooked up with a man." And I was like, "That's so. It's just such a weird,
It's a strange double standard.
standard that, even how if you're a lesbian, like how you're seen in the culture versus like how a gay man's seen in the culture is because
well, everyone's that's so hot. Like I want to be a part. I'm like that's not. No.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part.
That is why I do it.
But
because
then
it's so hot.
Yeah. And then you're like, there's two men like they kiss. It's like, oh god, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, let's look at these two girls like making out the bar. It is a very strange
Double standard.
And I think the part of like the big reason why also we wanted to, I think even in the docudrama it was oftentimes a man and two women in the core dynamic, and you see that a lot. And I think that if you're gonna like come up with what would a polyamorous relationship look like, I think often you would think of, and even in like comparing it to polygamy, you think of a man and multiple women because that's just like this great male fantasy. But we wanted to show something different and show like this core relationship, and obviously there's a lot of people that would be in and out of it, but the core dynamic is Caitlin and then her two
Yeah,
men
that
in
was
her life.
from like the very beginning. That's how we wanted to tackle it. We knew that from like Jump Street.
Right. And we wanted, like
For all these reasons you guys just mentioned.
Well, and like there's got to be an element as writers where you're just like, what a great engine for will they, won't they's, and
Oh, God,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like the very last scene is so good.
So good. So good.
and so fucked up. It's like
Yeah.
Tyler is jerking off to his like new mom. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's
Yeah.
But
strange.
it works in this like crazy way. And the thing that I love too is, of course, I'm talking especially about the wrench with Mark and Rachel. Yeah. Mark is probably better suited with Rachel than maybe with Caitlin.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's something, it just makes you want to see the second episode very
Well,
much.
and that would also, like, we had talked a lot about that. Like, that would very much, I think you're supposed to kind of assume that they're going to get into a relationship, but we would very much slow play that, like slow burn, because they would become drinking buddies.
Yeah.
Because they're both
First,
alcoholics.
and for a long time they would just be platonic drinking buddies, and then season 3, I don't know, in a cliffhanger season 2 maybe they get it on, but
Well, so smart to make Mark such a good dad, like a better dad than AJ.
Yeah.
Are you guys possibly concerned about, because with all these things like OTP and shipping and all, like people who watch these shows, loving couples together, are you guys concerned about audience perception here and wanting Caitlin and Mark to end up together, just the two of them, and rooting for that?
I hope, and maybe they would start out that way, but I think we would both hope that like ultimately that dynamic would change in the viewer's mind, that they would come to because that's what polyamory is to like understand like, oh, you can love more than one person. So even if people are like, I just want it to be Mark and Caitlin, like hopefully they would also come to fall in love with AJ or with whoever else we would be able to introduce.
yeah, that feels like that's a great question. But it feels like part of the fun of all that is like, Team AJ, Team Mark. There will be Team other character who hasn't even been introduced. You'll get to know Hannah more. So hopefully there's a lot of fun back and forth with all that.
Well, yeah, and like on a very reductive level, I think of Friends, and I think of when Rachel and Joey got together, and a lot of people were so excited.
And
Were they?
many people
wasn't.
were so
Yeah,
bad.
I wasn't into
It
it
is
at all.
the 23-year anniversary today of Friends.
Roxy's
Happy
like
anniversary.
a moderate fan. I kind of liked Rachel and Joey. I might be the only one.
I skipped that whole season because of that.
So anti.
Bye.
Maybe I'm the only one, but
So I always ask this, and you guys said it was the first time you ever had this read. Is there anything that you guys liked or didn't like? You want to change things that worked? Anything?
I don't know. I mean,
We've done that. We've been over the script so many times, and actually, the Writers Guild, they have like different diversity committees, and I'm on the LGBT committee, and they do this thing called the gay scene every year. So like anyone can submit from the guild. You don't have to be in the LGBT community or identify as gay, but you can submit a scene where like a character is gay, or they're talking about something that is
relevant to
relevant to the community. And last year we submitted the dinner scene, and that was like a fun opportunity to like kind of reopened the script again, and like we kind of polished that scene up a little bit, and then we're like, let's just kind of like look at the rest. But
Oh yeah, I guess you had heard that scene read, but I wasn't there, so.
right. So that one was, it was, I don't know, it's just like, it's fun to hear it, and it like, you guys all got the voices so much that it was just, I don't know. I think we've worked on this script a lot. So
It's
at this
perfect.
point,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
perfect. It's a masterpiece.
it's literally could not be better. But I think it kind of like, at this point, kind of is what it is. And if it were ever to get, if we were to sell it and it would end up somewhere, like I'm sure it would get rewritten or get, you know, like changed
Ruined.
to fit, ruined, changed to fit where it ends up. But I think for us as writers, this is very true to like our tone and our sensibility, and so it kind of like, at this point, we're happy with it.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, you guys did a great job. I was just kind of sitting back and enjoying it. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe clean up some couple like clunky stage direction moments, but that's our fault. But like,
Yeah, that's the
you know,
thing
like
that
I
you
thought it
like
was
always
great.
don't.
Yeah, I thought
you
it was.
forget
I thought
the
it,
table
Oh yeah,
read.
it was so clunky.
32 pages of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this thing's ready to fly, you guys. I really like it. And I will say, the good news is of course, there's always like notes from any network that would air it, but I feel like most of the networks where this would live, a lot of the philosophy of these networks is like creators make their show.
Right.
yeah,
You
with the
know?
ones we mentioned before, yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I just feel like with Transparent, like this thing would be like, I don't know if Jill Soloway would ever like want to take a look at this, but it just feels
Let's
like
ask her.
I know.
Bring her here, she.
Yeah, absolutely. It just feels like
Wouldn't that be awesome? And behind door number one.
I don't know. I just feel like this place needs to live somewhere because it's so interesting. And
Yeah.
no one's seen it. You know what I mean? That's so rare.
I think we want people to understand the community more. Like even
Right.
I'm from north of Seattle, and so that was that was the big reason why we
Puget
chose.
Yeah,
Sound.
Puget.
I know.
Yeah, I'm from Oregon, so
Oh, yeah, cousins, Washington and Oregon. But like in my hometown is Bellingham. It's very, very liberal area, and there was my family goes to a church that's like United Church of Christ. It's a congregational church, and it's non-denominational, so it's like it's already very, very open. Like I had a gay female pastor growing up, so like everyone is like welcome there, and that's their policy. They're like literally anyone can come and worship here. And when my parents had a family that wanted to join the church and wanted to become members, and they were polyamorous, and so it was I think it was a woman and two men, and they had a child, and they ended up writing a letter to the community that they put in newsletters and the flyers, and they're like, we just want to be very open with you about like who we are, and this is like our family, and we're raising this child together, and we want to come and worship here. And like the church had to decide, like, will we allow them to be members? And like, this is our entire philosophy is like to say yes, and like, yes, you can come. And I think but like so many people didn't know what it was, and they felt like we have to explain to you who we are and what we're doing here, so you're not like totally freaked out by us being here. And I think if we can do that for people, I think it would be really great, because you know, like Mark's speech in the ambulance to Tyler was something we really put a lot of thought into, because like Caitlin has her big like from the her big mic drop moment, like talking about history and like how these, you know, Western philosophies have developed, and then I think we wanted Mark to just kind of like make it slightly more relatable and be like, this is how people looked at the gay community not that long ago, and I don't know that there's like a lot of differences. I think that like this is a real relationship dynamic and a real lifestyle that people have, and they just like want to be able to practice that.
And a gift that you're giving to the community, because I'm sure people are sick and tired of explaining themselves and having to write that letter.
Yeah.
I would not want to be in that position where every time you go somewhere you need to explain who you are,
Yeah.
why you're there, and how
Your
your
lifestyle.
family
Who
works.
you're with. And,
Patience.
So if you guys can help shed light on that for those people to make it even a slightly easier for them to
Right.
introduce themselves to new communities and people, that's a pretty cool thing
Yeah.
to do.
Do you have any questions for us? It's okay if you don't.
I definitely read maybe the answer to this question already, but how long have you guys been doing this?
It's our 28th episode.
Oh my
so-
God.
Yeah, we read
Yeah, we
read
watched a
features.
couple.
Oh, awesome, cool. We read pilots and features. So, actually, have you guys ever considered writing this as a feature? That was one thought I had while reading it.
I think we just love like living with these characters, and I
Yeah.
think there's just too much you can do with it,
Yeah.
because like to your point about like casting and people coming in and out, like there's literally an endless amount of like new relationships and dynamics you can explore. And then even just like thinking about Tyler, like PTA meetings, like who's going, like other parents at his school, are they going to let their kids like go over to his house for like to study and do like any dynamic with that? And every time like we would, I don't know, we would have experiences in our lives and then be like, oh, this would be really cool told through this prism. I think there were just too many stories that we'd want to tell.
I mean, we discussed it briefly, but it just never felt like a story that had a beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
If we ever found a way in where we could, wrap it up in an hour, 2 hours, I mean, then sure, we wouldn't be opposed to it, but it's definitely a world we'd want to live in and just continue to explore as long as they'd let us.
I agree.
And I think the subject matter is too complex, like you said, to do it.
It's really
Don't do
hard to
justice.
understand that.
Plus, TV kind of provides a ground for building the kind of familiarity.
Yeah.
Building
You
the
live
world
with
and all
character
that.
over
Totally.
years and years, and
Yeah.
the film just kind of comes and goes.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
make the impact because people wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be in the news for long enough. Movies, they come and they go now,
Yeah.
and this is something people would continue
It
to
would
talk
just,
about.
it'd just be hard to do the nuanced version of it that we would want in a movie. I don't know that we could pull it off, and really do it justice. So.
Cool. Well, obviously we love the pilot,
Thank you.
and we wish you all the best of luck, and we'll do
Awesome.
whatever we can to push this thing too. That being
Thanks,
said, I
Al.
know you guys have some other stuff to promote. You recently wrapped something with Awesomeness, right?
Yeah, we I don't know what the title they settled on
TBD?
yet. TBD.
Significant Others, I think, was the name.
It was about a high school girls lacrosse team, and we find that one job kind of helps lead into the next, and so right now apparently our thing is women in sports,
Female
which
sports, that's
there
our
are
thing,
worse things to do. So we like that a lot, and it was very empowering and fun. And so now I guess we're just on to really developing our stuff and pitching and doing a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Great.
Yeah.
The Awesomeness gig was cool. It made perfect sense coming off pitch, and it was exciting for us just because there's not a lot of references for teenage girls to see versions
Right.
of themselves in a team sport setting on TV.
We talked about growing up and all the Tanner's I had so many movies,
Yeah.
so many sports movies to watch and shows and everything, and I don't know if I can say this with 100% accuracy, but I am almost positive that there are more movies about animals in sports than there are about women in sports.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Airbud.
all the
League of Their Own, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Little
you
Giants.
Bend It
Airbud.
Like Beckham and A League of Their Own, and
Little
She's
Giants.
the man.
but
She's the
unless
man.
you're
Forgets about that one.
but it is often
like
a woman joining a men's team or a
Yeah.
woman
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
pretending to be a man so
Yeah.
that they can, and there was
Even A League of Their Own, which is an amazing movie, but it was about adults. You know what I mean? But to actually have
Kids.
yeah, teenagers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the one with the ladybug? Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that was
yeah,
That was
but
a guy. pretending-
That was a
Exactly.
guy joining a girls team, yeah.
I almost,
Exact opposite.
I kind of theorized that's why Pitch Perfect did as well as it did, because it was just I know it wasn't a sports movie, but it was
Right.
this team of chicks, just
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that show.
It's
Bring it
crazy
on.
that you still don't see that very often.
I know.
So
there's more of it now, but yeah,
Slowly
it's
but
just
surely.
it's slow. It takes time, unfortunately.
Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that project on Awesomeness TV. Can't wait to see it. And let the folks know where they can find you online if they want to connect with you to buy this thing.
Online, Tanner has recently. Tanner's gotten more into Twitter now.
barely.
Good for you,
I
Tanner.
don't even
Tanner's
know my
trying.
handle, so you
Tanner's
should give
handle
me
is at tan_bean, and
Okay.
then I'm at Katie Mathewson. And that's probably the best place. But you found me through Amazon Studios, correct?
I did, yeah.
Which is great because Amazon Studios, I loved what they wanted to do with just letting people submit writing and be found that way. I wish that it had been more. I mean, it led to this, which is fantastic, and this has been wonderful. But aside from a stalker that I picked up from Amazon Studios a few years ago, we haven't, it
True
just kind
story.
of was
That's true.
it is a true story that has kind of sat there undiscovered. So I think having this that you guys do is incredible, and I think it's amazing that you're giving opportunities for writers to be oh, I have a script that I actually think is okay, and giving them a platform to share it. So it's amazing.
Thanks. That's the goal. It's missional. So it's been nice to see slowly but surely kind of the democratization of writing and opportunities for makers. And yeah, I agree. I think Amazon's getting close, but
Yeah, they're trying.
yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, guys. It's been a blast.
Thanks
It's been
for
really
having
fun.
us.
Guys, this has been the Unproduced Table Read here on the Popcorn Talk Network. My name is Jeff Graham. Today we read Significant Others, written by Katie Mathewson and Tanner Bean. If you want to connect with them, they just let you know where they can do that. If you want to connect with me, you can do so at Jeffrey C. Graham. If you want to pitch me a script there, you can. Really quickly, these scripts came to us not for free, but heavily discounted from ARA Printing in Burbank. You guys ever been there before?
No.
Oh my God, the shit.
Awesome. They're great. It's like definitely the cheapest way to print scripts in town.
Cool.
And if you go with the promo code TABLEREAD, you'll get 10% off your order. So that's in downtown Burbank on Magnolia. That's ARA Printing. Next week we are reading a script called it's called Ramona, and it's a very interesting take on a wheelchair-bound woman who's kind of this like rebellious rocker chick, and you've never read a script like it before. So tune in for that. That'll be 10 a.m. next Friday, and can't wait for it. How about the rest of you guys? Where can they find you online?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I am Timothy Michael. Again, you can find me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike.
I'm Roxy Stryer. You can find me at Roxy Stryer.
Andrew Guy, you can find me at Andrew Guy.
I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. I'm trying to be different. Also, see me on the Outlander podcast for AfterBuzz TV or YouTube channel /podcast.
We've got Willie in the corner.
And I'm William Pinkham. You can find me at william.pinkham.
And guys, this has been UTR. We'll see you next week, and see you then.
Bye, guys.
O is for the only one.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Spitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a